We are live. Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Blue Knowledge Radio. Place for Knowledge is Born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Allah. And let me do this with this camera view, okay? Because y'all did not come to see me. Y'all came to see this special, divinely sent woman right here who is helping change the universe one interaction at a time. Not just the planet. She is changing the universe one interaction at a time. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce and present to others. You know, greatness. Look, y'all take this greatness in. Okay, we're here for a limited time. Okay, we dealing with the doctor of diversity, the doctor of equity, the doctor of inclusion, an inclusion advocate. This is what an inclusion advocate looks like. Okay. You see what I'm saying? So her chosen profession is she chose to save the universe from itself by providing situations and education and training in the realm of inclusion. How beautiful is that? So let's get into that. Let's welcome to the show the inclusion guru, the inclusionologist, I should say. Dr. Monique Johnson is in the building. Welcome to the show. Good afternoon. How you feeling today? What's going on?
I'm feeling good. Thank you for that introduction. That was quite an introduction.
I got it off your website, so I cheated a little bit. On the website. Bring the doctor of inclusion, the inclusionologist, to your next event. You understand what I'm saying? So I was like, I saw it in lights. It was like the doctor of inclusion. Bam. I guess you can start with a little intro on your end.
Okay. Well, I'm Monique Johnson, Dr. Monique Johnson. My friends call me Monique, so that's fine. I am, as Knowledge said, I am a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. I'm also a career transition coach, and I also dabble a little bit in real estate. I've been doing the diversity work for years and years and years. Everything that I do is embedded and surrounded in diversity or related to diversity in some way. I started doing that work, as I said, many years ago, and part of it stems from my own personal experience where I grew up in a predominantly white community in Massachusetts. Small town, about 45,000 people, 30 minutes north of Boston. 40 minutes north of Boston, about there. But my parents are from the South, Alabama, and they left in search of better opportunity. My dad had a cousin in Massachusetts who was stationed there with her husband in the military. She was recruiting family members to come up for better opportunity, and my dad came, and then my mom came, and my 4 siblings and I were born there. So we had some interesting experiences growing up there. And so often I was the only Black girl in my class. My senior class, I think I was one of 2 Black girls out of a class of about 400 students. So although I wouldn't say it was I had a series of negative experiences, some of them were not great, some were good. I still felt very isolated at times. And so that really drives the work that I do as well. So, and we had, different racist experiences as well. So that's how the diversity and inclusion work came about. And as far as the career development work, I've been doing that since, I was in grad school. I was a graduate assistant, and I later got a job, working as an assistant director of career services. So that has always been a big part of the work that I do as well. I enjoy helping people advance in their career, as well as promote diverse and equitable and inclusive environments. So I know that was long.
mean, these are motivations. You see what I'm saying? So there was something with you, even from while you were in pursuit of your higher education, where you wanted to be of assistance. You know, that drive, that motivation. So from your upbringing to your formative years to you developing in your mind what your particular niche was going to be. I think
Mhm.
that's amazing. Most people are thinking of themselves while they, especially when they're in college. They might have been eating ketchup sandwiches or something, and you were thinking about helping others. You see what I'm saying? Being of service. Putting yourself in a position
Mhm.
to be of
Mhm.
service. You know, I think that's very, very remarkable. And with everything that you were exposed to coming up, I think those things and those experiences, sort of shape us in a certain kind of way as the way that we should go. So,
Mhm.
for you to help people career transition from that's some serious psychological work, and you said you dabble in real estate. That's another piece of psychological work. And then you're talking about one of the most diverse nations on the planet. They call this place a melting pot with zero inclination towards uh, diversity or inclusion. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
you got some, you got three rough fields full of changing the mindset in regards to
Mhm.
psychology.
Yes.
And then you do speaking engagements and trainings and things like that. So everywhere you go, from one place to another, you're sitting with someone interpersonally, to help them create that shift in thought, that shift in that mindset. So,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
have two questions in that regard. Like one, the
Sure.
first one, how do you do that? You understand? And the second one, from based on these experiences, like what are some of your large, takeaways from this experience, over these years,
Mhm.
working, people and that shift in thought process.
Okay. In response to the first question, how do you change people's worldview? Is that right? About how do you change their
Yes, ma'am.
perspective, their mindset? Well, so the way I look at it is, um, if I can encourage people to think about things differently or plant a seed, maybe these thoughts and feelings are not going to go away overnight. They didn't get there overnight, so they're not going to go away overnight. But if you can plant a seed for people and show them a different way of seeing a situation, or show them how to be a little more empathetic towards other people's situation, to put themselves in other people's shoes, I think that helps. Like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. And one of the things that I do say, and this is how I feel, is when I provide diversity training, for lack of a better word, people don't like training, but whatever, trainings or workshops or what have you, I'm not there to convince you that this is important, right? So I'm there to share what I know and hope that you will take something from what I share that will change you in some way for the better. So I'm not, there, because oftentimes you walk into a room, it can be very threatening. You walk into a room and people are just looking at you like, what does she have to say? Or, oh, here we go again, another Black woman in here telling us about diversity and inclusion because
Right,
she's Black, so she thinks so
right,
you get that vibe. And so I have to work really hard to kind of clear my energy before I go in a room. I remind myself of my purpose, what my purpose is here, why I do this work. And, then I just go and do what I have to do. Is everyone going to like me or like what I present? No, not at all. But that's not my role. I don't feel like I'm there to necessarily convince you, but to plant seeds. So that's all, what I could say about that. I'm always open. I always come with this feeling of openness. People do take shots at you. So, oftentimes what I do, if I may not address it, I may or may not address it. It depends on what it is, but I might say, well, would you consider this? Or would you consider thinking about it from this perspective, just to kind of to plant that seed. But in general, I don't, like I said, I don't do somersaults and flips and things like that to convince people, because keep in mind, oftentimes, sometimes diversity trainings are mandatory, and a company might say everybody has to do this because it's just mandatory. We're making it mandatory. So you can imagine that there's some people who do not respond well to that. They don't like that. They don't like having to being required to attend a session that talks about diversity, equity, and inclusion, or LGBTQ community, or whatever it is, or women, or Black women, or whomever. They don't like being forced to engage in the conversation. So denial, I'm reading Ibram Kendi's book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, right now. He talks about denial is the heartbeat of racism. So oftentimes when people are just so hard-hearted that they don't want to hear anything that you say, or they're not open to it, that's something else. that's something else, So yeah, that's my answer to the first question. Second question, what was this? Remind me again of the second question.
Your largest takeaways from your experience.
The largest takeaways. My largest takeaways are people have to be willing to change their mindset. People have to be open to it, first of all. They have to have a spirit of openness and a spirit of willingness. That's one of the things that I learned. It doesn't matter what you say or who you are. If they are not open and willing, then it's going to be very challenging. So I've learned that. I've also, my biggest takeaways are oftentimes people just have limited experience. I've had people say to me, a young student that was in one of my classes that I taught said to me, you're the first Black person I think I've ever really come into contact with. And I was stunned. And she said, and you're okay. So I'm thinking, where has she been living? But that's a lot of times people just don't have the experience. So ignorance oftentimes is more prevalent than we are aware. Now I will say, recently, this past year, I contemplated no longer doing diversity work, or doing it in a different way. And part of that was due to the fact that I was consulting with a school district, and the individual that that I was working closely with was another African-American woman, and they terminated her position. She had an advanced degree, a doctorate degree, the only one on the staff, the leadership staff, and very sharp. She and I got to be good friends. And they had to, they call it a reduction in force, where basically being laid off, or they had to eliminate some staff. And she was the only person of color on their leadership team. And they chose her role, which was the diversity role. I was a consultant working with her, but then that says something to you about how, diversity positions are valued oftentimes, that they're the first to go. They cut it. Is it window dressing? So I had to do a lot of self-evaluation this year for myself to really look at, because it was frustrating for me. And so one of the things I learned is that I'm not letting anybody make me quit or run away because it gets tough. Someone said to me, this type of work, if it's not tough and it doesn't make you feel some kind of way at times, and it's, you're not doing it right. But it's a shame, though, that it has to be frustrating and at times stressful in order to make a difference. So, but no one, we have all those countless leaders before us who went through way much worse, So, yeah. So I don't know. I have a lot of takeaways. Just keep going. Don't give up. Stay the course. Do the work. Continuously be learning. I'm always reading, learning, gaining new skills, putting myself out there. So those are all my big takeaways.
That's amazing. I mean, in the midst of like I said, you're dealing with some serious minds because people grow up a certain kind of way, they get set in their ways, and they were acculturated a certain kind of way in regards to you know how they see the world. From
Right.
whatever subsets of cultures that exist within their household, uh, their relationship with, finances, their relationship with their skin color and what comes along with it in the society, and they grow up in the society and they witness that they don't have to deal with certain things based on how they're socialized. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And, they get used to a certain uh, level of access. They don't like privilege anymore. They're used to a certain kind of access, and they have certain expectations that come along with that access. You see what I'm saying? So, you have to go in there and show them like, okay, let's deal with equity for a second. We're not dealing with equality. Let's deal with equity for a second.
Mhm,
So you have
mhm.
to go into a room with people with preconceived notions about who you are. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm, mhm.
And, you know, that is something that can be a challenge or a serious motivation. I'm gonna blow this
Mhm,
thing out of the water. They're gonna
mhm,
have experience.
mhm.
Every time I see Dr. Eric Thomas, I have to understand, what he brings to the
Oh
table.
yeah,
That level of explosion, that level of authenticity,
yeah.
that
His
level
energy.
of
Yeah.
right. So he's there, and not everybody can do that. You see what I'm saying?
No.
Crafted a way, to be able to walk this particular way, and the world embrace him for who he is. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
That, especially for a black man to come into a room all over the planet. Number one speaker in the world. To come into that place and not look like a threat, not look like a criminal. Any of those things. You understand? If you had that
Mhm,
thought when
mhm.
you first saw him, by the time he's done speaking, it's gone.
Right. Right.
You're at the edge of your seat and you're ready to go and you're ready to work. And he didn't have to lose any of his identity in the process.
Exactly.
I think
He's
that's
awesome.
beautiful.
I watch his videos as well. I really, really like him. And one of the things that I've learned too is that I like his style. Everybody has their own style, and that's what it's taught me. So because, my style is a little different. My style is different, but it matters and it's valid and it works for some people. So everybody's
Right.
not going to like Eric's style, because he's very energetic and he just kind of tells it
Right.
like it is, but he's very honest, very motivating. I'm my style is different from that, but again, it still can be effective. So that's one of the things that I've learned is that you have to just be who you are and
Right.
not try to be like other people, because it's not authentic. It's not authentic. It's not you. If I came in there and I was trying to do what Eric Thomas, people, they'd be looking at me like, what happened to her? Did she take some medicine or something? Or anyway, so yeah, that's a good point. But it is great that people receive him in the way that they do. He's excellent.
Him and rest in peace, Dr. Miles Monroe. They have like these speaking styles and an approach to speaking to take layers off of you. Just like you said, I can see and envision you in a room when you come into the room that they're like this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they're like this. Whether you physically see them do this
right,
or mentally you see them,
right.
and by the
It's
time
like
they're done,
conditioning,
they're like this.
conditioning.
They're like this, like
Hmm.
you understand what I'm saying? Because
Exactly.
slowly but surely you're chipping away at these layers and these bias and these preconceived notions and all of these things, and this mass media manipulation that goes on into crafting a psychology a certain kind of way as well. So if we look at, soft science, we would see that they say environmental pressures, when they say in regards to nature and adaptation with animals and things like that, our environmental pressures are social too. You see what I'm saying? Our environmental pressures are social, and a lot of them are artificial. Social media and mass media manipulation and influence are there. They all play a part in the shaping and molding of the psychology and development. So where the psyche is where the actualization of the experience comes from. So you actualize your experience based off of those things. So I definitely can see into a room and stripping away that, like, they might still think they're sitting up there like this, but they're really like this. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and so that loving, inviting, caring, sincere approach that you have. You see what I'm saying? Because you really want to help people, and people can, they can pick up on that. They can pick up on that. So I believe you helping people making these shifts and transitions, because that's a rough part of some people's life. You can go from, like I gave an example of myself when we were speaking on the phone of, from renting, that kind of mind frame. Like you're always on guard. You can pay your rent for a year, and the owner decides to sell the house.
Right.
You done paid your rent for a year. You're not secure in that kind of environment, and it does something to you psychologically. If you've been in an instance where the owner sold and you had to scramble to find another place, scramble to come up with first and last months and all of this stuff, and get your stuff out of the house and go, because, you could get, 2 weeks notice, if that, you see what I'm saying, to find you another place, and, all of that, and, make sure everything is done a certain kind of way, and then get to another spot and make sure you're not in a dump and look all around and get all of that stuff scrambled. Like, that's heavy on your psyche. So to take one person from a mindset where things are fleeting to a mindset where stability comes into place, that's another kind of, situation that's there, that's well to, kind of ease that mind frame. There's other work that's associated with it. You can't just call the landlord when something breaks. Now you're a homeowner now, so there's another level of responsibility that comes along with, other than making this mortgage payment and paying property. You have to deal with upkeep. You have to deal with maintenance. You have to deal with homeowners associations, and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, there's another set of responsibility, but you have a grace period that you would never have as a homeowner, and things that are afforded to you as a homeowner versus someone who is renting. So if we could kind of look at that and talk about that, and go into that realm of real estate, these experiences.
Sure. So we started our real estate business in 2002, and really it was just we wanted multiple streams of income. So we wanted additional streams, and we met a couple who were in the rental property business. They owned multiple rental homes. And so we spent some time talking to them, and they shared what they did. And so we, basically tried it on our own. The first few houses we bought were with family members, first couple houses where we all contributed. And then we just continued to purchase homes on our own. And I really manage the rental property side of it. My husband is very good at the investment side. So he's really the student of real estate in terms of reading the books and learning about the different strategies to make down payments and then get money back at closing and all of that. So he's really, really done a great job of that. He's very good at that. So we've just continued purchasing them. And initially, when we first started doing it, I thought it was kind of a pain, kind of a nuisance, when, I'm in the middle of something and somebody's calling me, telling me that their toilet is overflowing or whatever. But, I have since learned the value of real estate. I have also become somewhat of a student. It's been great. We've done well with it, and we've accrued multiple properties each year. And I really changed the way I think about it, because now I understand the financial value, but I also appreciate being able to help people. So, as you've mentioned multiple times, I do have a helping spirit. And so I appreciate helping people to live in single family homes, even if they are renters. We take very good care of our properties. We make sure that they are well maintained and updated and upgraded. And so, we wouldn't expect anyone to live in a property that we wouldn't want to live in. So we do a really good job with that. And we've established good relationships with our tenants because of that. So yeah, I really value that. We've actually sold some of the houses to tenants, maybe 3 or 4 of them to tenants, and help them to become first-time homeowners. So that really has been a highlight for me. I really do enjoy that. So that's really it as far as real estate goes. Yeah, we encourage them to treat it like their own home. And to take care of it, and then we'll do our part and they do their part, and it's a win-win for everybody. And we do try to work with people in terms of if they fall into difficulty, we ask them to set up a payment plan with us and to commit. And if they can't then uphold their end, then of course, they can't stay forever. You can't, so in many cases, you can't even live with your mom for nothing. I guess you can, but she's going to expect you to help do something or contribute something. So, but we do try to work with people, and we understand, especially, over the last few months, but we've still been able to maintain well, and yeah, things are going pretty good.
That's amazing. Has this COVID situation affected you in a positive or negative or a little bit of both so far in regards to business, in regards to how adaptable have you have to become based off of this whole situation?
So one of the things that we talk about often is the fact that we've been able to build great relationships. So having great relationships with people who will make repairs and bill you for them and trust that you will pay them um, has been very beneficial. We have a fantastic team. We don't live in the same state where our properties are, so that actually helps. That actually can be difficult. So it helps to have those good relationships. So that has been key. We've had to adapt. Typically, what we do, most of our houses are single family. When we have a house for rent, we have open houses where everybody comes on a Saturday. We'll have an open house from like 10 to 12, and everybody can come through and look at the house at the same time. Well, of course, with COVID, we can't do that anymore. So we've had to pivot the way we do that. We've updated our website, and now people can submit their applications for different properties online, exclusively online. That's allowed us to process things much faster. So we have had to change and pivot and adapt due to COVID and the way that we do things, And again, with the open houses, we don't do the open houses. We only show the property to people who qualify and are complete the application process. So a lot of people don't complete their application, so they start it but don't complete it. So yeah, so we've had to pivot and shift a little bit with COVID. Absolutely. And again, as I said, we've worked with our tenants. As long as they stay in communication with us, we try to work with them as much as possible. We don't want to see anyone, homeless or anything like that due to COVID. So we are very empathetic to that.
And so this relationships are key and very critical in this process over here. I couldn't do what I do without establishing relationships. I like to think that I've built good relationships around the planet, and because of that, and people in different fields. So if someone came to me and say, "Hey, I have this situation going on," you know, and this leads to the next question about BSN, Black Speakers Network, and how long you've been involved with that organization, and what was it about this particular organization that kind of caught your eye?
Well, I think I've been a member of BSN at maybe 2 years now, if I'm not mistaken, maybe a couple years now. I just have always, I love community, first of all. So I enjoy being in community with other Black people and who are aspiring to, the same thing, which is to be speakers and to use their influence to speak and to share and to engage people. And I always admired how Brian was so polished. Brian Olds is so polished, who is the founder of Black Speakers Network. And I always aspire to be better in all things, in all ways. And so I see it as an organization that will help me to share, help me to influence, help me to be a better speaker, more comfortable speaking, and build relationships, meet new people, because there are people who are members from across the country and I in the world actually. So yeah, I'm really excited about being an ambassador and and talking about that more, through social media, which I need to do a better job of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have to put that on my schedule of things to do. The social media interaction and engagement, despite the
Mhm.
fact that I'm on like every day of the week, and might be a couple of times in a day, in regards to, marketing the program, the products and services, all of those things, I have to put it on the schedule and say, today at this time, you will do this. Understand
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So being
I
open and
understand.
intentional and just as disciplined and regimented as I am in regards to these other aspects, in regards to change and regards to community outreach, in regards to all of these other aspects, have to be just as disciplined, if not more disciplined, about
Mhm.
this type of interaction and marketing and branding, out here. So, just setting those, you know, types of things along with it, because we can do a whole bunch in a day and nothing gets done.
I know.
Or we can
You
be
have to see.
intentional and effective, you know, we go out the day like right at it. Dr. Eric Thomas, he talks about it. You see what I'm saying? Don't just go in there. You just in there like the guy with the machine gun shooting all of these rounds and everything gets messed up instead of being targeted. Going there. He said like Jason Bourne, like targeted right there
Right,
on it. Boom,
right.
boom, boom, boom. Being very targeted from one engagement to the next one.
Exactly.
Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, I definitely had to take some of that advice to heart and seek to implement it. You know, it's easier said than done because the day can get away from you. The day can get away from you. Family has requirements and expectations. Everybody has expectations. You still have to get done in a day what you're supposed to get done. One of the things that I took away from the military, from some of my seniors, and they told me, and the level of leadership, it's not what you do in a day that matters, is what you get done. So from that vantage point in regards to that particular level, this is where their scope was. This is their purview. When you're down there at the level where the rubber meets the road, when you're a step away from your your teammates, or the team members that work under your direct supervision, you have to do a shift back and forth between you know working to get things done, working with people to get things done,
Mm-hmm.
and ensuring everything gets done at the same time, and then be
Right.
able to communicate it up higher, because all they want to know is, did it get done?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
they could care less about anything you had to do in order to get it done, as long as you got it done and everybody's safe and everyone is accounted for. Then you can go on to the next, stuff that comes down through them. So,
Hmm.
having that understanding of everyone's level and
Hmm.
how it has to go, because they have to tell somebody above them and they got to tell somebody above them. So
Right.
all they want to know is that whatever tasking or whatever the situation was that went down, that's taken care of.
Right. Right.
So
Right. And I
so yeah.
also love the the speakers, the webinars that BSN provides. I think the professional development um, offerings that they provide within the group are for the premium members in particular are really, really good. So I would encourage anyone who's interested in speaking more and being surrounded by like-minded individuals that BSN is a great resource. Yeah.
Definitely. Found immediate value just even in the identification process. It's like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
we're doing this. We're doing
Hmm.
this. I can look and see, people such as yourself having success. I can look around and, and see, brothers and sisters with amazing stories and amazing skill sets and making impact wherever they go. So I'm like, oh man, this is motivation. Just go. And, it's a whole nother world. It's a network, but this is like a world work. You go in there and like,
It is.
oh,
It is.
okay. So, this was another one of the motivations to do the spotlight, because there's so much talent. You don't even know who's around you, and then with that talent comes a story, you know, with that talent comes a story. So everybody needs a book, everybody needs a blog, some kind of mechanism to be able to
Hmm.
share those thoughts and get those thoughts out there, you know, as an addition to what these other social platforms provide. You're like, oh, I may be speaking at this particular conference and blah, 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 blah. Oh, I might be here, there. Oh, I'm doing this particular training, like you mentioned earlier. You see what I'm saying? Or like, oh, I closed this particular deal or whatever. But you don't get the other parts of that story. So there
Hmm.
has to be some kind of creative outlet for you to be able to express yourself and your story, because everything is not roses. I had a brother who came on here and he wrote a book, for children. It was a children's book. What was it? Pretty Like Me or something like that, for to give confidence to young children, because we forget young children have a psychology too, and they want to be accepted and loved uh, for who they are. And
Hmm.
sometimes they find challenges and obstacles and stuff like that. I think it's perfect, just like me, or just like you, or something like that. Perfect, just the way you are, something along those lines. And he told me on the way to making this book that he was homeless.
Oh.
Like stuff didn't go the way that it was supposed to go, and he was living in his car, sleeping in his car. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? So on the way, these things happen. And if you didn't know, with his jovial spirit, his bright energy, that positive vibe, you would never know that any adversity had befallen him.
Mhm.
But in
Mhm.
that other instance, this is what came out of it. On the other side, he has, a book. I saw him in some movies and all kinds of things. So if he would have given up along that way,
Mhm.
you know, he wouldn't be in that position that he was in, thereafter on the other side. So
Right.
adversity, how do you deal with adversity, along the way? Because I'm sure been some adversity along the way.
Absolutely. People think, because we've done well and we have real estate and, I'm Dr. Monique, that somehow that means that I haven't had any challenges or trials or tribulations. I haven't always been Dr. Monique. So yeah, there were days when, I remember being a graduate student and, I was on a assistantship, which is full tuition as long as I maintain my grades. And I remember not having any money. And I always kept food in my refrigerator and a little gas in my very old car if I had to go somewhere. And so, and I had multiple jobs. So I worked 3 jobs. I babysat for family. I worked at Lady Foot Locker, and then I was also a graduate assistant at in career services. So I've been working in career services for a long time. I worked there for like 4 years. So yes, I have, there are, adverse stories. And of course, my parents, they did their very best. There were times where my parents had bouts with unemployment and all of that. So yeah, I have had some challenges, but my dad, being from the South and living in that Jim Crow era, he always pushed us. The story with many Black people and Black children and Black students, that we have to work that much harder. We have to push, keep pushing. We have to excel to be noticed and all of that. So he really ingrained that into us. So I have a never give up spirit. There are times when, I have to encourage myself like anybody else has to encourage themselves. And, I do that through my spiritual relationship and a variety of other things that I do physically to, keep myself uplifted and in a healthy frame of mind. So yes, I do. We all have adversity. If people say that they don't, that's very unrealistic. Uh, but yeah, I just stay persistent. I stay focused. I allow myself to feel when I need to feel. I don't stay in a state of despair. I'm very, very intentional about that. I journal often. I like to write a lot. Um, and I do have some trusted friends, diehard homegirls, family members that are always there, that I know that I can talk to when I need to. So that's really how I deal with adversity. I really try to be encouraging to people around me and to be a light as opposed to, a downer. And yeah, that's what I would say, and that's how I deal with adversity. I've, been the go-to person in my family, and both of my parents are deceased, and so sometimes that can be difficult. I have 2 siblings who are younger than me, and a host of nieces and nephews, and so sometimes that can be a little challenging. But I've learned to do what I can, and then what I can't do, I just can't do. I just encourage them to make some things happen, for themselves.
Said you got a group of homegirls, huh? That's what I'm talking about. Just clap it up
Absolutely,
for that. You understand me?
absolutely. I don't know where I would be
I got
without
the
my friends.
yeah, I got to clap it up for that. Just for
Yeah,
having homegirls. Okay, like-minded,
absolutely,
sisters that keep you focused and keep you on the path.
absolutely. It's great to have a husband. I appreciate him too, but I value my relationships with my friends. With my female friends. I've always maintained those relationships for years and years, and always will. I think that's important.
Yeah, definitely invaluable. Definitely invaluable. Definitely invaluable. So I think I stole enough of your time. We already had started. On the tail end.
That's all right. That's okay. We got it done.
I'm definitely thankful for you coming through and sharing this amazing universal saving story with us. We're definitely looking forward to the book and the documentary and the series. A day in the life with Dr. Monique, the in, the inclusionary advocate. You know, coming soon.
Well,
The
thank you.
doctor of
I do.
inclusion.
I've been working on a book
Boom.
for some years. I've been working on a book. I've been working on a book, but I'm going to get it out one of these days, very, very soon. very soon I'm going to finish it. It has been a long-term goal.
I know there's a friend of ours that you can leverage our friendship together. Her name is Kia Harris. I think she
Okay.
is amazing. And I think, she works with first time authors. That's her specialty. And I think she will help you navigate
Uh,
those
she's an
tumultuous
ambassador, isn't
waters.
she?
Yes, she is.
Yeah, I've
She
seen her. I sure
She
have.
is the bookologist. She is the book writing
Okay.
whisperer. And this is book, what did she say? This is book authors a book month or something like that. So you
Okay.
still have
I'm gonna
8 days
check
left to leverage our sister in her bookology and her book modality. You understand
her
what
out.
I'm
Okay.
saying? So not only does she help first time authors, but she also has a publishing company. So
Okay.
hint, 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 hint.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I will definitely.
And I would have never known that if, I didn't do the spotlight series. You
Right.
come to the
Right.
spot, boop. You see to put the
Right.
spot, boop. The spotlight is on
Yes.
you.
Well, that. I'm glad you pointed that out. Thank you. I think I've actually seen some of her material, or seen her on social media, maybe.
Okay. So let's end it with some motivational closing remarks and how people can reach you, how they can book you, social media and the like, and anything else you want to draw people's attention to.
Okay. Well, so as I shared, I am a career coach, career transition coach, career strategist, whatever you want to call it. But career development is my space, and I especially enjoy working with women. I enjoy helping women find work that speaks to their heart, and I believe that we all should enjoy our work and do what we enjoy. And in addition to helping people find work that they enjoy, I help to promote equitable, inclusive, and diverse environments. So, what does all that mean? It means that I provide one-on-one coaching, career coaching for individuals, as anything from resumes all the way to job search and any and everything in between. You want to advance in your career. I offer a 30-minute free coaching session for anyone who is interested. And you can sign up for that by going to my website, drmoniquecjohnson.com. So if you are interested in a free 30-minute session, I'd be happy to talk to you and to share what I know. And I also provide consulting work. I've worked with a number of school districts. I've provided trainings, workshops. So I come alongside of your organization if you're looking to create a diversity and inclusion plan or some type of strategic plan as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion, or you are just looking for a series of trainings, one training, although I would recommend a series because the one and done session doesn't really work all that well. I mean, it's effective, but if you're looking to really embed diversity and inclusion in your organization and really jumpstart things and make progress, more than one is beneficial. I also, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I provide consulting, training. It could be whatever it is that you need to make your organization more effective and to meet the needs of your employees and the populations that you serve. So I'm happy to support. Again, all things are on my website. You can visit it there. I do have a couple of free items on there. I have a resume reboot document on the homepage there. If you're looking to revise your resume, that will help you, give you some food for thought. I also have a on the what I offer, what we do page. I have a document there for organizations interested in creating a diversity strategic plan and how to get yourself started. It's just kind of like a quick start guide. You can download that for your convenience as well. And I just want to thank Knowledge for the opportunity to be here on his show and to share some of myself with you. It's been a pleasure. I hope that we will connect again soon. And again, I'm grateful for the Black Speakers Network, being an ambassador for the organization. It's a phenomenal organization. If you are looking to be surrounded by a great, talented group of people who are looking to advance in their careers and in life in general. So with that, I will close. Again, I want to encourage you to start and modify as you go. That is my tagline: start and modify as you go, because I wouldn't be here today if I didn't have the courage to start and then transition and change. That's what I do. That's what I'm all about. So be well, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you again for your time. I wish you the utmost success in all of your endeavors, and I can see you changing the universe, with your work, with your visions, with your goals, with your aspirations, with your compassion, your patience, and your love. I think it's very, very amazing. Notable qualities and characteristics. I wish the world had some more inclusion and diversity in their heart. But
Yeah,
we're on the
yeah,
case, and others like you. We're going to continue to you know change the universe. So
absolutely. And thank you so much for this platform and for this opportunity and being so willing to reach out and to give us a spotlight. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best in all your endeavors as well. I know you got some good stuff coming along as well.
do not be a stranger. You're welcome here anytime, 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 anytime.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. You too.